Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hope y'all doing well today. Hope all is going well. One love to the humble. One love to the humble. One love to the humble. What I want to talk to you about today is that the black community is degenerate. The black community is degenerate. I'm talking about right here, right now, currently. I'm not talking about in the past. I'm talking about right here, right now, currently. The black community is degenerate. Now, we're gonna go through some research notes. I got a notepad right here, some notes that I've taken, and I want to share these numbers with you. Because sometimes you gotta show numbers, and you gotta give sources. Because sometimes people have a hard time believing what you say and comprehending what you say. So today I'm gonna bring these notes, and I want you to listen to these notes, and you can go and research this for yourself at any given time. Like Chuck D said, don't be dumb with a smartphone. You don't have to argue back with somebody off of emotion. You can look at the evidence. You can look at the stats. All this information can be looked up and researched for yourself if you really truly want to know. And there are multiple sources that you can reference. Because sometimes you may not want to take one source and say that's the answer. So if you can find the same information in more than one different source, then it's a good chance that there's some information that you can trust. Okay? And I understand our position. And sometimes when we hear things, we don't like to agree with it. We don't want to hear it because it's affects with our cognitive dissonance. Because we like to believe one thing when it's really not what we think it is, and it's something totally different. This might take me a while to get through this, so I hope you can stay here and be interested enough to follow me through these notes that I'm going to present. And if you can't, I understand. But if you can, stay here and listen. Some of you may already know this, and some of you may learn something, and then I understand the rest of you will be ready to argue me and tell me why I'm wrong. And that's okay, because it ain't me. I didn't come up with this on my own. These are stats that's verifiable that you yourself can go check out. So I'm going to tell you why this whole thing that I'm talking about is why the black community right now is degenerate. And it's going to keep getting worse. That's what I'm here to talk about. I hope it don't, and I hope somebody can see something and hear something and change it. Maybe somebody might catch this video after you share it with somebody, after you like the video, and after you share it with somebody, maybe they can see it and change. But until then, the black community is degenerate. And here we go. African Americans are the least married of any major racial group in America. According to the Census 2020 ACS survey, 30% of African Americans were married compared to 43% of Hispanics, 52% of whites, and 58% of Asians. Also, 50% of African Americans have never been married compared to 28% of whites. Both black and whites have similar divorce rate statistics, with 12% of each population currently divorced, which is higher than Hispanics, 9%, and Asians, 5%. Both black and Hispanics have the highest percent supported at 3% compared to 1% of whites and Asians. Now that information can be found at blackdemographics.com. You can go to blackdemographics.com and you can look this information up plus more. And that's the marital race. And we all understand how that looks for our community, that we're not marrying at a high rate. And you can see what's going on right now, which that's going to cause degeneracy in the community. In 2020, 30% of African Americans were married, compared to 43% of Hispanics, 52% of whites, and 58% of Asians. In 2021, 34.4% of blacks and 34.4% of black men and 28.6% of black women were married, compared to 55.5% of white men and 52.4% of white women. Look at that stat right there. Look at the difference in that. Look at the difference in that number. Let's keep going. Black Americans have higher rates of never been married. 1970, 35.6% of black men and 27.7% of black women were never married. 2020, 51.4% of black men and 47.5% of black women were never married. 2021, more than 48% of all black women and 51% of black men had never been married. Look how those numbers keep going up. Look at those numbers, how they keep going up. That right there will cause degeneracy in the black community. It will. And by the way, one love to the humble. In 2005, the most comprehensive study on the economics of marriage was published, written by J. Zargursky. I think I pronounced that right. The report, Marriage and Divorces, Impact on Wealth, closely followed by the net worth of individuals. Let me go back. In 2005, the most comprehensive study on the economics of marriage was published, written by J. Zargursky. The report, Marriage and Divorces, Impact on Wealth. That's for our community, right? It closely followed the net worth of individuals throughout their 20s, 30s, and early 40s, and found that the wealth of marriage respondents increased by around 14% for each year they were wed. That means those who were married seen a 14% increase in their wealth each year that they were married. Compared to being single, married people almost doubled their wealth, increasing it over 93%. They said that compared to being single, married people almost doubled their wealth, increasingly over 93%. Think about that for a second. Being married increases your wealth. That's simple. Now, I just told you in the black community, we're not marrying, and we got a low marriage rate, and we don't have a lot of wealth. We don't have a lot of money, and it's directly related to what I just said. They said that married people increase their wealth by 14%, and it increased about 14% every year that they were married. And then compared to being single, married people almost double their wealth, increasing it over 93%. Come on, man, the math don't lie. And that affects the black community. We talking about poverty, we talking about wealth creation, we talking about all of those things that we're not having because we're not marrying. Everything that we're doing is causing us to have problems financially. All of the choices we make, all of the things we do is causing us to have these problems. Everything that I'm reading here is leading you down a path to see why we are degenerate. This is what this does. It's follow the path. Just keep following the path. A 1965 report by Daniel Patrick Monahan, known as the Monahan Report, examined the link between black poverty and family structure. It hypothesized that the destruction of the black nuclear family structure would hinder for their progress towards economics and political equality. Did you hear that? A 1965 report hypothesized that the destruction of the black nuclear family structure would hinder for the progress toward economic and political equality. Meaning, if you break the black family, the nuclear family down, then you're going to affect them economically and you're going to affect them politically, which is what we see and have been seeing for a long period of time. We think it's solely based on one thing, but it's not. It's based on this right here, and only this right here. Well, not only, but mainly this right here. Let's keep going. When Monahan wrote in 1965 on the coming destruction of the black family, the out-of-wedlock birth rate was 25% among black people. In 1991, 68% of black children were born outside of marriage. In 2011, 72% of black babies were born to unmarried mothers. Do you follow this? You follow this, what I'm laying down? You picking up what I'm putting down? Are you following this? You see how this starts and how it leads right into this problem right here? You see that, how that's happening? It's directly related. It's correlated. Look at the number. 1965, the out of wedlock rate was 25%. In 1991, it was 68%. In 2011, it's 72%. What do you think it is right now? It's like 77 to 80% right now. What kind of 80% of babies born outside of wedlock? But let's stick to this, what this talking about. Let's just stick at 72%. 72% of babies being born out of wedlock. That's creating poverty all over the place. But we blaming it on white people. White people ain't got nothing to do with this. This is our choices. These are choices we're making. Nobody's forcing us to do this but us. We're taking this on. But let's keep on moving. According to the 1910 U.S. Census manuscript, compared to white women, black women were more likely to become teenage mothers, stay single, and have marriage instability, and were much more likely to live in female-headed single-parent homes. They came up with this in 1910, and it's happening right now. It's been happening. A census manuscript came up with the idea that unlike white women, black women would become teenage mothers, stay single, and have marriage instability, and were much more likely to live in a female-headed single-parent home. That's exactly what's happening right now. This pattern has been known as black matriarchy because of the observance of many households headed by women. The breakdown of the black family was first brought to national attention by the Democratic Senator Daniel Patrick Monahan, the guy who did the report that I'm just talking about, in the groundbreaking Monahan Report. You can go look that up. Monahan Report. Also known as the Negro Family, the Case for National Action. Monahan's report made the argument that the relative absence of nuclear families, those having both married father and mother present in the black America, would greatly hinder further black socio-economic progress. Now tell me that's not what's happening right now. Tell me that's not what's happening right now. And we blaming it on somebody else, when all this right here is our own doing. It's our own doing. Now you jump into the abortion rates. 40% of women who get abortion in the United States are black. I'm gonna say that one more time. 40% of women who get abortion in the United States are black women. 40% getting abortion. Look at all these things right here, and you tell me that's not degeneracy. That's gonna cause degeneracy. The choices we're making in the black community are causing degeneracy. I don't care about what the laws say about abortion and none of that. Who cares? Personal choice and personal accountability is what we have to get to. The laws are the laws. They apply to everyone. But we're doing it at a 40% rate. That ain't got nothing to do with the law, because it ain't, everybody's not doing that. Only we are doing that. And then that goes back to instability in relationships, having children out of wedlock. They're not married to nobody, but they're getting pregnant and then they're having divorces. Well, what about the men? Everybody's involved in this. I'm not just talking to women. I'm talking to the black community, because everybody's playing a role in this. But let's keep moving. 19 million black babies have been aborted since 1973. I'm gonna say that one more time. 19 million black babies have been aborted since 1973. 19 million? 19 million babies aborted since 1973? Now, that wouldn't be a problem if we was getting married before we was carrying. But everybody want to move forward and be progressive, and they don't want to live like the old way. We tired of this old stuff. Just move to the new way. But look what the new way is causing. Following that new way, look what it's causing. 19 million? And we worried about KKK. We worried about white supremacy. You worried about cops killing? Cops ain't killed no 19 million black people. 19 million? 19 million people wasn't even killed, wasn't even unalived in slavery. 19 million people unalived. 19 million people unalived. And we talking about racism. We talking about cops. We talking about stuff like that. That's what we talking about here. Something wrong with us up here if we think that is worse than this. I'm just going to assume we didn't know this 19 million. We didn't know that number. So that's why we so concerned about those things. The worst place to be is not out here dealing with cops. These days, the worst place to be is in a black woman's womb. That's more dangerous, according to these stats, than it is facing any cop out here or any white person out here that you claim you're so scared of. You better be scared of this. The effect of abortion on the black community. That's the name of this report. And the research team that did this report was Christina Daniels, Catherine Davis, Ifeoma Anunkor, Star Parker. It's a 23-page policy report. You can go look it up. It's called The Effects of Abortion on the Black Community. Research team Christina Davis, Christina Daniels, Catherine Davis, Ifeoma Anunkor, and Star Parker. It's a 23-page policy report. There's more on there than this, but I just pulled this off of it. For the sake of the video, I couldn't read the whole 23-page report to you. Maybe I will another day. But right now, I just pulled that part out. That was very significant. Talking 19 million. Now, when you have the breakdown of the nuclear family, you have poverty, you're having all these abortions, we're not getting married, we're not building families. Now check this out. One love to the humble. This is why black people today are degenerate. In 2022, the FBI reported that there were 10,470 black murder victims in the United States and 7,704 white murder victims. In comparison, there were 454 murder victims of unknown race and 568 victims of another race. Blacks, however, represent 26.6% of total arrests, including 51.2% of murder arrests, 52.7% of robbery arrests, 28.8% of burglary arrests, 28.6% of motor vehicle theft, 42.2% of prostitution arrests, and 26.1% of drug arrests. You can find this information in the FBI Crime Report, Table 43, February 13, 2024. FBI Crime Report, Table 43, February 13, 2024. This is recent data. Recent data. From my understanding, black people commit the most violent crimes in the United States. And if I'm not mistaken, and if correct me if I'm wrong, but we commit like 50-some% of the murders, and we're only 13 to, I believe, anywhere between 13 to 17% of the population right now. That's an off number. The number should not be that high considering we only 13% of the population. But see, somebody asked me the other day, well, what's the reason for all of this? Well, the reason for it is because we've lost more character. We have no character. We don't care anymore. We lost our way. The things that used to keep us guided, keep us in the right place, keep us focused, is no longer there because we don't honor that no more. And some of us abused it, meaning the people who were at the top of it abused it and turned the people at the bottom away, but that's still the result of black people's behavior, not no one else doing it, not slavery, not any of that. It wasn't because of that. In 2022, African Americans had the highest incarceration rate of any race or ethnicity. In local jails in the United States, at 558 558 were incarcerated per 100,000 people. This is 6 times the rate of white people, and more than it's 6 times the rate of white people. 6 times the rate of white people? How is that possible? Well, we only 13 to 17% of the population. Because we're doing the most crime. Because we don't have structure anymore. We don't have things to keep us together anymore. Because we don't want to believe in nothing anymore. It used to be a time before civil rights got involved when we was doing just fine. We had the families. We had churches. We had everything in place that kept us going in the right direction. But we was convinced, and we took the bait, hook, line, and sinker, that was no longer, we don't need religion. Who cares about it? That was black people doing this now. Our own black people was coming out with this new type of thinking. And when that new type of thinking disrupted the things that kept the black family solid. And now here we are today looking like fools. And maybe you don't know what's going on. Maybe you're not one of the ones who in it. Maybe you are just, you're good. But that's not the case for everybody. This is the case. This is what I'm reading to you is the case. This is why the black community is degenerate. This is why. All of those things contribute to the problem. That we're doing it. Nobody else is doing it but us. In 2022, the official poverty rate for black people in the United States was 17.1%, which was a record low. 17.1% of black people were living below the poverty line. 17.1%. In 2023, poverty threshold for the contiguous United States, individual was $14,891. Family of four, $29,960. So you gotta look at it like this. One person who's making $14,891 is living under the poverty line. A family of four that only is making $29,960 is living below the poverty threshold. Why is that? It ain't because nobody won't hire them. That's not it. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. If you an individual person and you making $14,891 a year, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I don't want to hear this. Nobody don't come on here trying to give me no reason. Man, listen, that's ridiculous. That's pure ridiculous. $14,000 a year. You got 12 months in a year, and you making $14,000 a year. Man, that's like less than $1,000 a month. You're not gonna tell me if you're making $14,000 a year, you got plenty of time to do something else to create some income to balance that out. We do all of that right there, but yet we out here online. Now remind you that's 17.1%. But everybody black is rich. Everybody black got all the designer, got all the most expensive clothes, driving the most expensive cars. But out here living below the at a 17.1% rate, living under the poverty line. But you would never know that was true because of the way black people out here living. Faking it till they make it. Nah, you faking it, you ain't gonna never make it. Because it's not possible. The numbers just don't add up. You can't do something if you're only making this type of money and then think you're gonna turn around and now you're gonna magically be able to save, be able to do all this. It's not gonna happen. You gotta start thinking and learning how to make power moves and do things a different kind of way. Instead of blaming somebody else for why you only making this right here. That's nobody else's fault but your own. We live in a country where you can do anything you want, become anybody you want to be at any given time. It's no excuse. And there ain't no excuse you gonna come and tell me that I'm gonna listen to. I have did things when I have got myself in financial situations. I told you, man, I had 21 years in the military. Even with me, I had problems come up financially. And I had to make a move. I had to do so. I had to figure something out. I had to sacrifice time that I didn't want to sacrifice, but I had to. I wasn't going to settle. I wasn't going to sit there and just let myself get in the situation and not do anything about it and just complain about the white man. The white man ain't stopping me. I could do anything I want to do. And I did that. And I overcame the situation. And you can too. We all can. But if you keep making excuses for people, telling them that somebody owed them something because of their own shortcomings, no, nobody owe you nothing. You owe what you earn. Ain't nothing went on with slavery that got anything to do with anybody today. I'm tired of this. It's nonsense and it has to stop. Man, you can share this video. You can like it. You can definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you're still here right now, I appreciate you. But this has got to stop. This is what causes degeneracy in the black community. Rap music. Rap music ain't even what it used to be. It used to be called hip hop. Right? Hip hop. That ain't hip hop no more. All they talking about now is killing. I don't know if I can say that word. Unaliving people. Unaliving each other. Real disrespectful. And this is what we're listening to. This is what's programming in mind. If you understand how the brain works, then you know it can be programmed. It ain't just music. It's not just music. It's like an affirmation. If I keep saying it to you, keep listening, keep chanting it, it becomes real. And it changes how you think. It changes how you see things. It changes your reality. That's what these songs do. When I was coming up, we was all about the pro-black. We was all about righteous. You know, we would listen to groups like X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, KRS-One, Dead Prez. I mean, we would listen to rappers like that. People who was inspiring us, Brand Nubian. You know, we would listen to people like that was inspiring us. We in middle school, we rocking around with X hats, Malcolm X hats, X chains, the African medallions, because that was the music was influencing us to be like. And then they stopped. That came to a dead stop, and it went right into the hip hop gangster. And we the ones who made the music. The record companies is a business. They're gonna put out whatever they're gonna put out. You can't blame them. It's us. We the one created the music to give to them. They're gonna do what a business person does and make money. They don't care about your community. That's our rappers' fault for switching it up. Spending money and looking flashy. 17.1% living below the poverty line, but we love to spend money. Everybody you see on social media got a big knot of money like this. You got a big knot of money up here like this. And what are they teaching everybody else? All the other young kids. They're going to do something illegal. And they're going to end up being a stat on this number that I just showed you. Because we ain't responsible and careful of the imagery that we put out there. People that understand imagery understand that it's a big deal when you are reckless with your imagery. Because impressionable minds don't understand what you're doing. But you know what you're doing. You're influencing them. That's what you're doing. We also have an over-sexualized community. Everything in our community is all about sex. It's all we talk about. That's it. What we're going to do on the song. We telling somebody what we're going to do to them. You see all the videos of all the black women twerking. Or showing themselves in a provocative way. Or dressing half-dressed. Over-sexualized. That leads to degeneracy. That leads to degeneracy. Which is where we at right here today. Degenerate. And we got the victim mentality. Nothing is our fault. It's everybody else's fault. We have nothing to do with it. We have absolutely nothing to do with it. It's all about everybody else. We don't get a job, or the white man don't want to hire me. No, it wasn't that. But that's what you have to believe, because that's what you've been telling yourself, and that's what all these black leaders been telling you. They don't tell you that it's your fault. They don't tell you that they don't tell you that it's your fault. They don't tell you to improve. They say, oh, they just won't hire you because you're black. You got to be crazy if you believe that. Just because you're black. Well, just say if it was because you were black. Look what we do. Some of us, I wouldn't take a risk on hiring either, because I've had them experiences. I've hired people to work for my company, black, and I've done things for them that I shouldn't have done for them, looking out for them, and they burnt me. They turned around and stabbed me in the back. My own business, and I'm looking out for them. It was bad. I had white people I hired, no problems. None. See, this is the thing we don't look at. But we want to blame everybody else because we're a victim. Everybody doing something to us. We ain't do nothing. This guy clearly was abusing the position, and I looked out for him because he was black. Never again. I will never do that again. I admit I did do that. I mean, I was the owner. I thought I was gonna do that, but he couldn't. You can't treat. I couldn't treat him that way because he don't respect it. He really embarrassed me and he stabbed me in my back. But that's okay. I learned my lesson. You cannot blame white people for everything. A lot of this is our own fault. We got ourselves in this position. That's why we're degenerate. That's why right now we're in a degenerate state. And until we change these things, which I don't even see how it's going to happen, but until we change them, it's going to continue to be degeneracy. Just look around and look at everything that's going on and look at everything that we're doing in the black community. Look around and look at it. And you telling me this is something you can look around and say you're proud of? Maybe you don't know any difference. Maybe you're too young to have been around when things were not like this. Maybe you just don't know. But it was not this way. What we got going on today is buffoonery at its highest level. Everybody can come on here and say something about me because I'm talking about black people. Well, I wouldn't be sharing this information if I didn't care. We have to do, I don't know what to say. I'm not even saying that we got to do better. We've been saying that for years now, and ain't nothing better has come around. Maybe we just don't know these numbers and these stats. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm going to keep sharing it because I may not get everybody. But if I can change one mind, then to me, I've done what I'm supposed to do. Because this is pathetic. The way we're living right now. Pants hanging all the way down. Men walking around with their pants hanging under their butt. And it's cool. Like, this is the thing to do. Nobody thinks like, man, why would I want to walk around with my butt showing? My underwear showing. And we think it's cool. We don't care. Somebody will argue you down for saying something about it. This is degeneracy. And I just want to bring up a few things. This wasn't even everything. This is just a few. I sit down and I do my research. I don't just come here talking out my neck like somebody said I was doing. Maybe it wasn't on here. I think it was on TikTok. Somebody said I'm talking out my neck. But this is the thing that's gonna happen. I'm cool with that. I ain't disrespecting nobody. But I am gonna tell the truth. And if you think anything I said here is not true, feel free to go back and research it, and then you can come back and tell me where I'm wrong. But until then, y'all take care. Be safe out there and get your life together.